Guys, Submission Underground coming back this Sunday, 6 o'clock Eastern, only on UFC Fight Pass. Let's break this down, starting with the main event. So, this main event, we have been building to this for 3 months. Submission Underground, just for perspective for you, Submission Underground is once a month, except last month. Reason being, the Olympic Games were on. So instead of competing against the Olympic Games, we're going to take August off. We will see you all in September. But before we left, we held a tournament. Now, I want to back up to this tournament. Submission Underground has only held one before. And grappling tournaments, as you know, 8 men. Single elimination. So to win it or even be in the finals becomes your third match. To win it, you must win 3 matches in one day. Don't forget, we're underground. I don't know that I've given you any more details than that, but take it fairly literally, and it is hot as can be. I mean, the conditions are tough. They're very, very tough. So these guys, with the level of exhaustion, with how much fatigue, just dealing with the temperatures which reached 112. Whoever's going to come through that tournament is going to be a real stud. Can we agree? And we have one piece of evidence, because the first tournament we held, a young man named Mason Fowler came through. Now, we only held the tournament because we had a champion named Craig Jones, and Craig Jones is dangerous, period. He is one of the most vicious and dangerous skill sets of any martial artist of any degree that I've ever seen. Craig only does 2 things. He strangles you or he breaks you. So to put somebody in there with Craig, we have a responsibility. We went through world champions. We went through Abu Dhabi champions. But we still have a responsibility to put somebody in there that can protect themselves. Can we agree on that? Okay. Hold the tournament. Mason Fowler comes through. Mason beats Craig. Nobody could believe what they just saw, and I got to put myself in that category too. I might have played it cool, but at the time, I couldn't believe what I just saw. So we do the only thing you can do. We rematch him. We make Mason prove it again. He taps Craig Jones out. So Mason goes on this phenomenal run. I mean, I just off the top of my head, he went through Ishii, the Olympic gold medalist in judo. He went through Ryan Bader, the sitting, reigning heavyweight champion of Bellator. It was so impressive what he was doing. And Kyle Chambers gets thrown in the mix, Andy Varela. I'm talking about the best of the best. So you go, okay, we have another Craig Jones here. We have another very dangerous man. We have a responsibility to not just read resumes or take a poll or trust a manager. We need to see who wants this guy. Because the responsibility is twofold. First off, to the competitor, to make sure somebody can defend themselves. But we also have an obligation, from an integrity standpoint, to you, the audience. We have to bring somebody in there that not only has the skills to beat Mason Fowler, but that can keep himself safe in the process. And a lot of guys will agree to take Mason on. It's a very featured spot. Dana loves it. It helps to build it up. You get some notoriety. I get it. I understand the whole thing. I don't begrudge that. But for a championship match, we need somebody that thinks they can beat him, that's coming in to beat him, not just to compete with him. So we hold a tournament. Whoever comes through the tournament, we're going to give them $10,000. $10,000 for beating 3 guys in one day. I mean, in all fairness, right, I think we can agree this isn't about the money. But we don't want it to be. We want a competitor, a gritty competitor that wants his glory. Okay, if you can take out 3 guys in one day, you will be the #1 contender and you will take on Mason Fowler. So the studs come out. I mean, the studs come out for this opportunity for the tournament. When it's all said and done, it's Kyle Bame versus Pedro. When that's done, Kyle Bame is the tournament champion, which means he's the #1 contender, which means it's Mason versus Bame. Why do I tell you this whole story? Because the only month we took off was last month, so it's been 2 months plus, closer to 10 weeks of building this up. 12 days ago, Kyle calls us. He broke his foot. Oh, no. First thought, feel terrible for Kyle, right? My first thought, Kyle, feel better. Second thought, what do we do about the main event? I know there's a lot of guys that want that match, but that wasn't the prerequisite. Okay, the litmus test is, do you believe you can beat him? No more guys going out there just for an opportunity. Do you believe you can beat Mason Fowler? My phone lit up. lit up, lit up, lit up. And no, I don't mean from hearing from people all over the place. I mean hearing from the same guy over and over and over. I finally called the matchmaker. I was out of town. I was at a wedding. Called the matchmaker. I said, hey, what's going on here? She goes, he's doing the same thing to me. She said, I'm offering it too. Then she filled in the blank. She said, I'm offering it too. And she filled in the blank. I said, you know what? Let's not offer it. Whoever wants it the most, if our litmus test in fact is who thinks they can win, that's who gets it. Now, who is the who I'm talking about? One guy. Probably won't surprise you. Gabriel Checo. Gabriel Checo is the only man to defeat Austin Vanderford in combat. Austin Vanderford was a national wrestling champion. He is completely undefeated in MMA. He is the #1 contender who will be fighting for the championship against Gegard Mousasi in the coming weeks. And he's fantastic in Submission Underground. Gabriel defeated him. I'm just for reference, okay? So Gabriel is not afraid to compete. Gabriel competes with the LFA, had a bare knuckle contract 2 weeks ago, fighting it up. His opponent ended up not being able to show up. But this is a rough guy. And Gabriel looks it. I'm assuming you guys know who Gabriel is, but if you don't, you'll recognize him in a second. He's Brazilian. He's buff, all strong. He's got a mohawk. He's got a crazy look in his eyes. I mean, Gabriel shows up to do bad things. He's just a rough guy. The way it is. Trains with Clayton Hires. Trains with Vinny Magliesh. He wants the chance. So now we got to call Mason. We got to put this thing together. Now, Mason has never been one to turn down an opportunity. And Mason is champion in fairness. Can't turn down an opportunity. You call him, you be polite. Hey, what do you think? But there's only one thing he can say. And Mason knows that. And Mason says the same thing every time, which is yes. Mason will truly take on anybody. This is what you want in your champions, right? From Craig Jones to Mason, look, the lineage is not long. These guys are grabbing the belt and they're finding a way to hang on to it. But one thing that happens over a period of time, even a short period, the more competitions you have, the more tape and footage and knowledge of you that's out there. So now we've got coaches, we've got pundits, and we've got athletes sitting down, rewatching. They'll go right to Fight Pass, they'll bring it up, and then they'll rewind, and they'll watch again, they'll rewind, and they'll watch again. And there are a couple of traits. I got to call it the word traits, because it's not an insult. But there is some commonalities with Mason Fowler matches. Guys are starting to identify them. They're calling me. They're telling me. And they're right. Does that mean you can deal with it? You still had Mike Tyson. Everybody knew about the uppercut. Everybody knew a hook was coming. Nobody could stop it. So you start to wonder just how big is the myth, the legend, the legacy of Mason Fowler going to be? Eventually, everybody in sports history gives it up to somebody. Somebody passes the torch. Is that anytime soon? Because this torch is red hot. Mason's getting bigger. He's getting stronger. His condition has never been questioned. He's finding new tactics, new positions, showing a lot of stuff off his back, a lot of rubber guard that he's going to by choice. So I think when people, I'm just giving you my opinion, but I think when people are watching Mason 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 matches of his, and they're starting to find some of these traits, I do not believe we've seen the best of Mason Fowler. I don't think anybody fully knows what Mason's plan B and plan C is or looks like. I think he's got more in him. He's going to be tested. Gabriel Checo is here to win. That's between those boys, the unified rules of grappling, and you, the audience. We'll see you Sunday.